you're here already. Where's my George Jetson car? I didn't fly into work today, did I?
I think we were supposed to get the hoverboard first and Mr. Fusion flying DeLorean.
Yeah, I didn't get any of that. I see customers today who have the latest and greatest equipment, the absolute cutting edge in their network, and they're still doing a ton of tasks manually. They're out there working on all of the gear themselves. Why isn't the world of automation extended to them? Why isn't managing the network into the future?
Yeah, I think in the server world, the printer world, the workstation world, those tools are there and are able to do those automated tasks because they have the network component in place that's reliable. And when the network is up and running, then all those tools tend to work very well.
Sure.
But for the network team, that's the transport for all the other great automation tools. When the network is down, they can't count on the network to be there. And that's why the tools haven't been applied and haven't been as successful in managing network components.
So even if you have a lot of great centralized management tools in place, and there are a ton of great tools out there that folks can use, why is it still taking so long to recover when there is a problem with the network?
I think the first problem is monitoring to see if there's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Most of our customers monitor between 2 and 15 minutes the statistics of routers, switches, and firewalls. So they don't know a problem is a problem until they've queried it. And so that's the first thing, is more frequent sampling. And the second one really is that the level of data that you collect. It's got to be rich information to determine whether something's meeting or exceeding its goals. The second one is that most of those tools determine functionality from the core or wherever the network management systems are out, not really from the outside back in, not what a workstation or a telephone on a certain network.
Or a branch at the edge of the network might be feeling.
Yeah. They take it from a more or less the inside-out view, and so they don't really have a good example of what the end user's feeling. One of the things that Uplogix does in that way is poll very intensively because it's off network. It doesn't cost the network anything to do it. Because it's coming across asynchronous serial lines most of the time, it doesn't keep the device from switching packets to be able to query it all the time. And so we're able to find a problem very quickly in the first 30 seconds generally, triangulate it in about 2 minutes with 5 samples, and then start executing the things you would do if you were there to resolve the problem very quickly. And so we stretch that time or compress that time to discover and get through the first 5 resolution steps in about 5 minutes from the time the first packet dropped. And so that's a very different focus than the centralized tools that are not polling as frequently. And then once they do poll, their job is really just to be a monitoring tool anyway, and they trigger and alert someone to go take a step and then see if that solved the problem. So you've got a lot of manual intervention that's also still occurring.
Right, so that concept of taking an hour to restore a network device, that's really just out the window when you're using the Uplogix local management product.
All right, yeah, that process happens in Uplogix in less than 5 minutes.
Right, and you're already on your way to fixing the problem using the Uplogix, or you've got that rich set of data at the edge exactly where you need it to restore it yourself. So when you are managing with the Uplogix Local Manager, a lot of those routine maintenance tasks are a lot simpler.
Absolutely. So everything from that 12-step process you'd go through if you were following Cisco's best practice to upgrade a router.
Right.
You'd back up the last known good, make sure the TFTP server is there, check some of those devices. Those are all built into one transaction in a Uplogix system that has the ability to execute them the same way that you would. And then if something occurs along the way, because you've rebooted and hope it comes back up across the WAN, then if it didn't pass all those tests on the way back up, Uplogix rolls it right back. So it gives you the best of both worlds. The automated 11 steps exactly the same way across your network. If you give it to 100 different network administrators, it will happen exactly the same way on all sites. And then that safety net, ability to roll that right back if something happens.
Right, and then you have the ability to multiply that times hundreds and thousands of different sites.
Right.
And you can schedule different sections of the world or different business units to be on different security patches, and those upgrades can occur at different times based on your scheduling. So instead of having to do that manually for every device in your network, you can schedule the task once in the Uplogix and have it get picked up by hundreds or thousands of devices across your network.
Yeah, unlike the centralized tools that will stage and send the files, it's a very distributed model where the files are distributed over time. And then once the change window occurs, they can all execute it on their own. Each autonomous local manager taking all its actions locally, deciding whether or not that device that was upgraded passes those tests, and then confirming that back to the centralized tool. Really all in a very robust way, just exactly the way the manufacturer would have done it if they could have done it.